What's up, guys? Today we're gonna do Goofy, Sleepy Goofy. I don't know, I just like his outfit. I like his little slippers. I think this would be fun. All right, so the first thing I see is I'm gonna do the face. I suppose we can do a sphere for the head. So let's just go ahead and call this head. And I like to make a platform for the feet so I can sort of get a feeling of his length. So I'll just add a cylinder. You know what? Let's make the cylinder. Let's make that the center. And we'll move the head up. It looks like he has quite a small head. So I'll validate this. And just remesh it. Oh, that looks terrible. So I'm just going to remesh it and then use the round edge brush just to smooth it out. And I'm gonna decimate it early. Okay, that's better. 709, and it's a decent platform. All right, so let's see. So what I see for the head is his snout is very odd. It's almost like, it looks like two spheres, sort of like this. Kind of can't see. So there's like two spheres and then a sphere on the end, and then like two lumps. It's very odd actually when you really think about it. So this will be the floor. So floor, head. Let's add another sphere. Let's make sure we're looking at the front. And I want to mirror this one. And I want to use the gizmo. Why is it still down there? Okay, so I'm going to move the head down. So here we have the mirror. Why is it? Oh, I didn't bring it up. That's why. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up and bring it straight. That way we can still separate it. I have to make sure that I'm on the sphere in order to mirror it correctly. And shout out to Shane for telling me about this thing. This little, if it's moving the wrong way, like if it's doing this where you want to move it and it's jumping like that, then he let me know. I still get confused doing it. He let me know that it's because I need to use the opposite one, and then it'll work normally. So shout out to Shane for that. I'll put up a thing for your YouTube, because here's some pretty cool videos. All right, so what this looks like to me is this flat, but it's long too. Let me hide this. I don't need this right now. I don't need the floor right now. So I'm going to stretch this because his snout is pretty long. And it looks like this. That's what it looks like to me. And it looks like it would sort of come, it would sort of come closer together towards the back. So maybe something like this. And his head is pretty small. He actually has a very, very tiny head. So let's make this a little smaller. We'll make it a little bigger for now. So something like that. The eyes would be here. So tricky. But little by little, I just have to do it little by little. That's what I have to do. All right, so I'm going to validate this for now. And I'm going to take clay, and I kind of want to just get rid of the top. So I'm going to do sub and just get rid of this a little bit. Okay. So we're getting a little bit of this line here. We have this on the opposite side. So that's looking pretty good so far. So now it looks like there's another sphere right in the middle. You know what? I'm going to name the whole mirror Snoot or Snout. Because when I do things underneath this mirror, actually I don't need to do things underneath the mirror, come to think of it. Because if I did, then everything would be mirrored. I don't really need it. I just need this sphere for the nose. So let me take this sphere out of the snoot and bring it up. So this looks like it should be here. I'm going to make it smaller and then stretch it. Something like this. It'd probably be a bit fatter. Oh, and there's a curve to it as well. But it looks like it's just the top. Okay, so it doesn't look like it goes all the way to the end. Looks like it might go around there. But this actually looks like it has a little bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to push that down a bit. Maybe this is a little bit smaller. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so now for these two kind of like lumps that go back to his eyes. So this part of his mouth actually goes behind his eyes. So that's okay that this is kind of long. That would be here. But then it comes around to like here, and then his eyes would be in this section, and then he has the two. So I don't have to make them all the way back to the head now, because the eyes would probably be all the way up here, something like that. So obviously I can use inflate, but that's a little, like, I don't need to do that. I can just use more spheres. So this is, we'll just name this Snoot Nose. And while we're here doing that, let's validate it and let's clone it, and let's just make the regular nose. So this will just be the regular nose. It's got an odd shape as well. It's kind of like a peanut shape, a little bit. Well, not really. So it looks something like that, but it definitely has like a bend in it. Let's make sure, so we use move, let's make sure symmetry is on, because I want to keep everything symmetrical, because that'll just make it easier. So everything I want to keep straight like that. And if I didn't have symmetry and I tried to move this, it would be off kilter. It wouldn't be straight. So that's why I'm keeping symmetry on. And I want to push it a little bit, maybe even pull it. It's a little smaller at the bottom. Ooh, that's too small. So this part I'm mostly making up, kind of just making it look like what I assume it would look like. Something like that seems okay, but it's a little more round on the end here. So I'm just using the move tool to sort of push and pull until I think it's perfect. Okay, I like something like that. It looks good from most angles. So maybe a tad bit smaller. Looks like it's right on the end. Looks like it's on the front like this. That feels about right. And I might have to adjust this when I make the other little bumps. So let's do that. No, I don't want to do it in the mirror either. I'm just going to do it separate. So let's bring this up. And we'll just shrink it, and we'll make those sections that he has. So they're pretty, they're not too high up, but they definitely need to be stretched. And actually, this might be too wide. These might be a little too wide. So let's shrink those in a little bit. I think that feels a bit better. Part of me wants to make it a little fatter, but I don't know if it actually is. I think I still need to bring them a little bit closer. And I'm just going to see how far away this line is from the nose, and it's actually quite close. So what that tells me is I can probably bring this down. Actually, I should just do both. So I'm going to take the nose, snoot, and the nose, and I'll bring this down and up. Something like that, I think. So let's take this one and bring it up even further. And I think this, I'm gonna use move and symmetry, and I'm just gonna spread it out, because right now it's, I don't know, I just feel like it needs to be opened up a little bit. Something like that. Even with this, I might just, oh, I gotta validate it. And make sure symmetry is on. So I'm just gonna spread it out a little bit. And maybe even bring it down a little bit. Okay, so let's duplicate or clone it. So now we have two. Okay, something like that. And something also tells me that these, they don't look straight down. They look like they're sort of tilted forward. So what I'm going to do is tilt them forward. Tilt this one forward too. I'll move it back a little bit. And now I'm just going to use move to sort of accentuate what I just did. Okay. Okay, I think that looks decent. Still have a little bit of slight issues with this, but you know what else? It's the twisting too. I think I should make the back more thin, like that. So that means I need to use clay and sub and get rid of this again. And this is a very important part. This can be squeezed together. I think that feels a bit better. I'm going to take it off a line so I can just fatten this up a bit. All right. That feels pretty good. The only thing that I see now is it doesn't look thin enough back here, because like this section is fairly thin. So that's the only issue. So I'm just going to take move. I don't need symmetry because this is mirrored. So whatever I do on this side will happen on the other side because it's mirrored. Otherwise I'd have to use symmetry. So I'm going to suck this in manually. With move. I'm going to use clay on the top here to make sure that's nice and low. And whatever this is, I'm going to clay it as well, because we don't really need anything underneath there. And whatever that is too. I'll keep everything as clean as I can. So that looks pretty good. And for this, I might actually use another sphere. I could try to stretch this sphere out, but at this point in time, since I'm blocking everything, I think it's easier to just use another sphere. What is this? This is Skinfold 1. Let me start naming this SF1. I don't want to write out Skinfold. It's weird. SF2. All right, and I'm going to nestle these under snoot. What is this? Oh, that's the snoot nose. So this is the actual snoot. This is the nose. I'm going to nestle that under snoot nose as well. I'm going to move this up. I'm just trying to organize this a little bit so I can sort of have them together. Then we have the head, then we have the floor. Okay, so this is mostly going to be near the head. So I'm going to tap on head just so the sphere goes near that. Sphere. And you know what I can do? I can actually put this, since this is connected to the original snoot, I can put it in that mirror, that sphere, because this is going to be part of this, and it's going to be on both sides. So we'll bring them up. Bring them forward, shrink it up, and then separate. So now we just have to sort of, fashion it to be in the right spot, in the right shape. So something like this. So this line is going to come over and it's going to be a smile right about here. So maybe even a little further up. Smile comes across to the first lump. The eye should be here. So I'm going to even move it up a little bit more. Maybe I'll stretch it. All right, I'm going to validate it, and then I'm just going to connect it to this part. Yeah. Drag might be better for this. So I'm trying to concentrate on this line here, this like round bit, because that goes right to the first little skin fold. Okay, so something like that. And this actually attaches to the bottom too. I don't even know how. I don't even know what the bottom even is. But it looks like might be able to do a cylinder if I could. A cylinder and a sphere, maybe? Or just another sphere. Let's try another sphere first. But I'm not actually sure what I want to use for that. Oh, for a second I thought I was off center. I was going to be real upset. Let me save this. Save as Goofy. Okay, so this has to be the lip. I could actually just not do that. I could actually just fashion the lip. Maybe that's the better thing to do. Yeah, maybe it's better to just figure out where this goes, which would probably be around there. Maybe it's a little smaller. It looks long from this side though. And you know what? This needs to, I feel like this needs to go up a bit, but not on top, only on the bottom part. So I'm gonna, I guess I could just use drag. No, it's still moving the top. So I'm gonna use select mask and I'm gonna lasso the top to protect it. So now I'll just use move. And I just want to bring this up a bit. So the reason why I'm bringing this up a bit is because this line should go up and it should go right into the middle of this. That's where that's where that is. But also this shows me that this is actually the wrong shape. This actually should stretch back. It's quite flat here. It's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna take this little bit here, and I'm just gonna use clay and sub, and I'm just gonna get rid of it from down here because I don't want any of that confusing me. I'm happy with this, so I'm gonna go back to the mask and I'm gonna clear it. Okay, so with this, I'm going to validate it and I'm going to use move and I'm going to use symmetry and I'm going to stretch it because this would go to both sides. This is connected to both sides of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and stretch this out. Stretch it back and stretch it up. Something like that. It's actually not bad. So it kind of looks like it just goes to a completely straight down. This goes up, connects to this piece, which is looking a little long. That looks better. And I'm guessing that I kind of like where this piece is, but I feel like it needs to spread out a little bit. But this needs to be nice and round. It's very round in the image. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it real good. So maybe something like that. I still don't like how this kind of lost a little bit of its shape. It's a little bit better. And then I would put the lip. I can just use inflate and put the lip there. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. All sides, it looks all right. Okay, so the head. I don't have to do too much with his head. But so if I go here, the eyes are in this area. And I'm not even sure if I want to. I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. I think maybe just flattening this head, but maybe I should shape it first. Let's shape it first. So I'm going to take the head and looks like it's just something like that. So maybe it would be a little bit. Eyes are here, the head would come maybe a little bit back. Something like that, something sort of cylindrical, maybe a little bit longer. And then the eyes are kind of straight. They're very long. So I just want to flatten all of this, and they touch too. Very important. But I don't need to touch this part. I just need to touch when I actually make the eyes. But I had to do the same thing with the Mickey, kind of make this the right shape. I might have to lift this up a bit. I tend to make, sometimes when I tend to make characters, I tend to make them like looking up very, very high. And this is the angle that I'm trying to match. And it looks pretty good, but I don't know. Let's use move and just bring this up a little bit. I'll make it big so it sort of is uniform. So we'll do something like that. And I still want to flatten this a bit more. Not that it really makes a difference. And the eyes actually, yeah, let's flatten this a bit more. The eyes actually go around, so they sort of loop. So that's actually perfect. Smooth this out. That can come down the middle. So let me just smooth a little bit. Let's get rid of, what is this? Oh, let's clay that away just to kind of keep it clean. Clay that away. All right, so for the eyes, let me save. I don't want to be in, oh, what is this sphere? This is the bottom jaw. Low jaw. So I'm going to add a new sphere, and for these we can make the eyes out of these. Should I? Should I trim them? Or just... So something like this, but they both... Ooh, okay, so... kind of like this, but not quite. Would that help? No, I think I need to... They do kind of close like that at the bottom. They are pretty close, so that might actually work. So let's stretch it out a little bit more. To make them a little bigger. Okay, so how big are they compared to the nose? The nose is pretty big, but the eyes are still bigger. This is pretty big. This doesn't feel long enough now. Or maybe I'm just making the eyes too big. Let's push them back into the head a bit more. Okay, that's actually all right. It's actually not bad. I wonder if I should bend them. Maybe that will help too. So the other thing that I'm feeling is, I'll validate them. I want to make the tops a little bit more ovular, a little more round. Something like that. Okay, I think that's pretty good actually. So, I mean, it looks pretty decent. The only thing is maybe I'll lean it back a little bit more. And also, I kind of want to make the bottom round. But I don't know. Oh yeah, maybe I feel like that's a bit better. That feels a bit better. Okay, sometimes it's the smallest things that like make such a big difference. His head looks like it. Oh, that might be the hat though. That might be the hat, not actually his head under the hat. So what I want to do is make... Oh, I gotta be a little bit careful here. I'm going to clone the mirror and the sphere. So I'm going to clone both of them. I'm going to go up here and name this one Lids. And then this one will be Eyes. So for the lids, the cuts are a little... Oh wait, I'm going to make sure I'm on lids. I'm going to validate them. So I'm going to join children and try my luck again. Let's just do a quick... Let's hide the eyes. Lids. Okay, we'll turn symmetry on. Okay, that's better. So something like that. voxel remesh it. I'm going to voxel remesh it high because of what happened before. Smooth this out. Bring back the eyes. Pull the lids forward. Pivot, reset, pivot, since I don't know where the pivot went. It's the only thing about the using the lasso to trim things is that sometimes they don't trim straight. I actually don't know how to trim things as straight as I would like them to trim. So now I'm just using flatten. See, it's really hard to get them flat the way that I want them to be. Okay, it's actually not too bad. Give it a little bit of a smooth, then a little bit of a pinch. Let's take a look-see. It's not bad. And I can still use move to sort of make it a little bit more equal. Okay, that's looking good. What am I seeing? So these eyes, actually, I don't need a lot of this back here. So I think I'm just going to trim it with the lasso, because right now it's kind of getting in the way. There we go. All right, this feels feeling good. Feeling good. Okay, so he has a long neck. And I don't know if I should do the neck, or this looks like just a cone would work. Make sure I call these eyelids. Or eyelids lids, sure. So these are the eyes. Let's add I could do a cylinder. Cylinder is fine. So we'll tap Gizmo to get to the options, radius, and this side is smaller. So maybe something like that. Gizmo. So it looks like something like this. Okay, but if this is the master shot, somewhere along there, then this has to go back more. Looks like there's a bit of a bend in it. I think I like the size, so I'm going to validate it, move, and I want to create that little bit of a bend. Oop, I don't have symmetry on, like a dum-dum. Something like that. But it's also, a lot of it's covered by the hat too, so got to keep that in mind. So the hat looks like a cone or a cylinder, probably a cylinder, with a tube on top. So let's save. So this cylinder is the neck. And we'll add a new cylinder. Let's rename it Hat 1. So we'll use, you know what, I'm going to do snap. What if I can bake that? No, I can't bake it. I don't want to bake it anyway right now. So let's tap on the gizmo to get back. Radius. So this would be smaller. This would be bigger. Let's use our gizmo and sort of get it to the right position. Maybe we'll stretch it a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So it slopes down a lot, but I think I have to just do that with the move tool. So it's probably around there. I should have saved this view for now. Put ortho, since it's orthographic, and I'm not changing it to perspective yet, since I always sculpt in orthographic. All right, so do I want to put a hole in this? Do I want to put a hole in it? That might help with like a nice, the opening part. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that would actually help quite a bit. The only thing is, I don't necessarily want it on this side. I think that's pretty good. I think I can slim this out quite a bit. So let's go to the view. Okay. So let's validate. I'm nervous to validate it. Move. Let's turn on symmetry. And let's try to get this to where it needs to go. So this slopes down. So we'll take the back. We'll slope that down. And let's try to push. Try to push this a little bit. It looks a bit better, a little bit closer. And, ooh, wait a minute, so the neck. So if we're looking at our view, it's actually, let's stretch it some, move it up. It should be sort of covering his eyes a little bit more. Okay, I think that might be a little bit better. So now I'm going to take the bottom part and just drag it back a little bit. So it looks like it comes out and then it goes back. And his ears come down too. His ears come down right behind this little thing. So this part, I think I'm going to squeeze and bring in a little bit. Maybe even bring them down. I feel like this needs to go up and push. Okay, I want this to stay round though. I don't want it to get too thin up there. Okay. So these just look like flattened spheres. So let's save. These can be mirrored as well. Why are you not letting me? Mirror, shrink. So we'll stretch them and we'll here. You know what? This might actually be better as a cylinder. I think it's better as a cylinder. So if I take a cylinder, there's a kind of a cool thing that you can do. So if I add a cylinder, and then I think I can go here. No. I thought I could like, oh, maybe I can reset. It didn't work. I thought it was supposed to go to where anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So we'll take this cylinder. Let's get rid of these spheres. Cylinders are better. So let's do snap. Separate them and put them kind of in the same spot. Alright, so let's make them a little more thin. Okay, I think the rest I need to do by validating. I think. Let's make them a little thinner. So I'm going to validate, and then I want to use move. So firstly, I need to make the bottoms more round. So I want to use the correct symmetry, not this one, this one. So I want to use the green so that, and what will help is if I go to the symmetry thing and I go to show line. So that'll help so I can see the what's going to be symmetrical. So if I go, stupid, symmetry. So if I go like this, it does it on the other side as well. That's what I want. So now I should be able to, you know, I wish it would happen on the other side as well. So not only the front, not only the inner ear and outer ear, but also the bottom side and the top side. So I think that might be blue as well. Yeah. So that's blue as well. So this should actually be what I need. Oh, it's kind of hard to figure out. Make it a little bit bigger. I want this to be like sort of clean. So I'll stretch it out a little bit more. And then slowly try to pinch it together. It's actually not bad. The rest I might be able to do with some other tools. So I'm going to voxel remesh this at 200 just to kind of solidify it up a bit. And I'm going to smooth it. But by smoothing it, I'm also making it thinner on top. And the bottom, I'm just going to be a little bit more delicate, so I don't lose too much of that side, the size and shape. But they're pretty thin. His ears are pretty thin, so I think that might be all right. I can even stretch them a little bit more. So, will he still move symmetrically? Yes. The ears are pretty long. I think that feels about right. They go right behind this thing. Yeah, something like that. It's actually pretty good. I might not have to even do too much to that. The only other thing, I might actually take the blue off and maybe just add a little bit of a curve, perhaps. Unless that makes it look a little bit weird. It kind of does. Unfortunately. What if I make it really big and I push instead? I think I would buy that. I still wish this was a little bit more clean, that ear, but I think it'll do. So let's save. And while we're here, let's add some spheres to the eyes. So this should be fairly easy. So we'll make them small. We'll make them like that. Mirror. Oh, take it off snap. Okay, so his eyes are fairly small. I want to make sure that they're lined up properly. Oh, I must be on the wrong one. Shout out to Shane. Okay, so something like this, but maybe we'll make them a little bit smaller, push them a little deeper into the eye. They're a little bit higher. Yeah, that kind of works. Let's take this hat and let's smooth out. Ooh. Let's voxel remesh it at 200 to solidify it up a bit. I have a lot of work to do on this hat. Okay, so let me flatten this just because it's bothering me. Okay, so, excuse me, I think I want to add a tube. Maybe this will be all I do for tonight. A tube and then adjust the neck. So let's do path. Start here. Something like this. It's actually pretty good. Oh, it's getting a little crazy. Take snap off. Okay, so it goes down to just about the same length as the ear, though it's behind the ear. Okay, so this does something like this. Let's do radius, make this wide. Let's add another one here. So we'll make this one small. So the white thing is not as long as the ear, so I need to move this up.
Okay,
I kind of want to do radius again so I can make this a little bit wider up here. And I'd actually like to bring the whole thing down. Okay, so I think I need to spline first of all, and then I need to get that little curve in it. There's a little tiny curve. Whoop. Okay, I think that actually looks pretty good. Let's look at our view. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. The back looks like it could be flattened. Yeah, I need the voxel remesh this a little bit lower so I can easily smooth it out. Just trying to make the shape a little bit closer to the art. Okay, that looks a bit better. I don't know how the heck I'm supposed to make that. But for now, we'll just add a sphere. Only one sphere. It's pretty small. Okay. Something like that. Now the only other thing is the neck. So it looks a little wonky. So I'm going to use drag, I think, to kind of open it up a little bit. Or maybe move is better. You know what? I'm going to select mask. I'm going to lasso the front because I like the position of the front of the neck. But, oops. Oops. Okay. It looks pretty good. I'm going to take move and just sort of manually follow the drawing a little bit more. Oh, that's actually a little bit too much now. Okay, this is actually pretty good. Maybe I'll just spread it out a little bit more. See, this goes all the way down to the thing. So where did I go wrong here? Did I just make this too short? Okay, I kind of like that as an answer. I think that looks good. Okay, did I validate this? Let me validate this. And smooth off this side. And I just want to use move because I think I just want to spread it into the hat a little bit. Something like that. Okay. I might need to make these a little bit lower. That way I can add, I don't know if I want to add this now, but I want to add this. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's this. I just want to clay this away before I forget. Yeah, I think I'm going to do those. I'm going to do that later. But I'm going to clay this away still. All right, let me save this. I think this is good progress. All right. Okay, so I forgot to turn off the mask for the neck. So make sure to turn that off. And also his snout feels a little bit short, but I have to remember that I'm modeling in orthographic. So before I kind of edit that, I'm just going to check with perspective. And it actually looks a little bit more how I want it to look in perspective. so I don't need to do anything. But you can see that there's a difference in the two. So we'll see. All right, so I think, oh, we still have those little hairs. So I do need to make some space for those little hairs. So I think I'm gonna protect the head from here back. Actually, yeah, I think I'll just protect it from here back. And maybe even just a slight drag might do the trick. Still want to have that nice flip up. And I want to maintain that this is round up here. Okay, that's pretty good. What am I seeing there? So I'm just going to clay this away, kind of keep it clean. Also this. Okay, I think I can fit those hairs coming forward. And those will just be tubes. Am I splined or snapped? I hope I'm not. So we'll just do that. I probably could have just done a either a cone or a cylinder also. So I'm going to spline. So we'll make this one smaller. This smaller. So something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and validate this. I think it works well enough. But now it's just the positioning. I'm going to tap a line. That might be a little bit easier to adjust. Whoops. That's what I always have to be careful of. Accidentally tapping another mesh. It's like my worst fear. Okay, that feels all right. Okay, so let's just clone this. This one is down a little bit. And it actually looks like sort of looks like it originates from the same spot, but it bends down, it's lower down. Although it actually looks kind of a bit longer. So I'm just going to position it, and then I'm going to use move, I think, to sort of direct it into the right spot. I feel like this has a little bit more of a bend to it. might have been too aggressive. So I'll shrink it up a little bit. Okay, that's okay. So now I'm going to clone it again for the third and final one. This one does look longer. I'm also just moving them. They look like they would be next to each other. Sort of touching at the base, but sort of facing outwards. So I'm just kind of doing that on my own executive decision. And this one looks like it's bent the most. So I want to get a nice bend in there. But I want to get a nice curve. Okay, that looks okay. Okay, that feels all right. All right, that feels good. So these I'm going to, okay, this is the hat 2. So I'm going to connect those. I want to connect the neck with the head. And maybe even the eyelids, even though they'll be different colors. The sphere is the connect to the hat. This is the hat fluff. Tube. I'm going to join these for now. These will be the head hairs. What is this? Oh, these are the ears. I can probably actually validate them. Eyes I'm going to leave alone for now. What is this? Oh, these are the pupils. Okay, so eyes, pupils, low jaw, I'm going to connect to the head. All right, let's save. Nice. Okay, so for the body, sphere, sphere. Maybe this can be a flat cylinder, or even a sphere. Or even a rounded box. This shape might be easier with, I don't know. Let's just try something. Okay, I think a box, because I think we want that side, that clear side. So I'm going to add a box. So sort of like this. Okay, so his head and his neck, the body is like 2 of those. So the body's pretty long. So I would say 1, 2. That feels about right. So I'm going to validate it, and I'm just going to do the round edge just to sort of smooth it out. I don't like it as a regular box. Symmetry I want to turn on, and I want to bend it. I'm going to make this really big, so I want to have a nice even arch. So something like that. Pivot, reset, pivot, just to get the pivot back in the middle. And also, whoops, I want to trim. The top part shouldn't be slanted like this, so I'm going to go ahead and it should be that way. Which means this probably should be that way as well, but I don't think the bottom makes, I think that makes less of a difference. All right, so he's pretty wide. He looks a little wider. Maybe a tad bit thinner. Okay, so something like that. I don't know why it feels so short. Mine feels so much shorter. Oh, you know what it is? I'm going to put it towards the front, so... Yeah, so the ear falls where this shoulder is, so if I'm looking at like this angle, it's not going to match up perfectly, but I do want the ear to be over the shirt, so that's good. So now just 2 spheres for here, and then a cylinder. So let's make this body. We can nestle all the rest under body. So sphere, I want to mirror this. And they look like they're back and up. So something like that. I think looks good. The shoulders are actually behind this thing, so maybe I need to bring them in more. Okay, that looks good. A little bit higher, a little bit further back. That looks good. So now I think I'm going to do cylinder and cylinder. Or I could just do a tube, honestly. I could do a tube. So he's holding his midsection here. So I'm going to validate these spheres. Are they the size that I want them? Do I want them a little bit bigger? Compared to his head? Maybe a smidge bigger. So we'll validate these and call them shoulders. All right, I'm just going to save. And now I want to add tubes. The important thing is for these tubes is to not, you don't want snap. So we'll do tube, path. We don't want snap, because if we have snap, it'll try to stick to everything. It'll try to stick to the surfaces or snap to the surfaces. All right, so, and we don't actually need it mirrored, so I might have to take it out of the box or out of the mirror. So they go straight back. So that would be one. And then the other one, oop. There we go. And this one just goes here. It looks like it's a very short distance, but it might just be foreshadowing. I'm not 100% certain. So I'll give that a hard corner. Okay, I'm going to do radius so I can make this a little bit smaller. That's what it looks like in the drawing. And then he just needs enough room for the hand to be on the body. Okay, I think that looks all right. Because the hand, I'll have to figure out how I'm going to make that. Okay, so let's make a sphere for the hips. And I also need to figure out if this is curved enough, the body. But for now, this is the arm, right arm. A quick sphere for the so let's flatten this and stretch it. Stretch it out a little bit more. Let's validate it, and let's just use move with symmetry to sort of draw it out at the bottom. So something like this. The hand is quite big. Kind of makes sense. So now I do want to drag. Yeah, I think that's what I want. Something like that. And now I'm just going to clay this away a little bit just to clean that up. Tube. And these can actually be mirrored. Okay, so if this is my view, they're not straight out, they're sort of on an angle. So we'll start here and do one. His legs don't look that long, actually. Or at least his thighs don't. And then these should rest right underneath his body. Although they're a little forward. So the ankle actually goes right behind the shoulder. Yeah, it does. So let's bring that back a little bit. I can adjust this, of course. That'll be a that'll be a black dot for his knee. So of course we want to just bring it out forward. We want to have this negative space. I think that looks pretty good. We'll hit radius so we can make this part bigger. And we still need to, if we look at the front, we still need to make sure that it's coming out of his body. Okay, so what I see here is okay. All right, I gotta get my sizes right. This leg feels too big. So this will be hip sphere. It does feel a bit big, but I think it might be okay for now. For this bottom part, the bottom part of it where his ankle is very thin. So I'm going to make this thin because we can sort of build up around it. And the bottom parts can just be spheres, really. Save. So let's add a sphere. Feet. Okay, so let's just stretch this. Feels like it would be something like that. But let's get it aligned correctly. Tab 2. Can sort of adjust this. So I want to try to match the angle again and kind of see what I'm doing here. All right, so the hand is pretty big. The hand will be here. This looks okay. This, make sure our mirror is on. So this is a nice curve that goes right around. Everything is like pretty clean from the leg. Okay, that looks okay. And of course, it would have some stuff around the leg there. And this looks like a little bit too thin. And we'll have to add something on the end there for the elbow. So if these are the feet, I'm going to validate that and I'm going to trim it. Do I want to trim it? Yeah, I think it needs to be trimmed. And since I'm going to trim it, I'm just going to remesh it so the bottom isn't all crazy. Okay, so this is all good, and I'm only doing one leg because we can always just mirror everything and it'll be on the other side. Again, that's the beauty of doing everything in the direct center and not changing the symmetry of the whole project. So we have that. Since this is still since we didn't validate that arm, we could clone it and we could try to use it for the left arm. So let's rename it. Left arm. Okay, so we'll go to our angle and we can adjust this arm pretty easily. Okay, if that's our view, then And maybe his legs need to be a little bit more wide. So I'm going to nestle the feet and the where's this? Okay, so this is the right leg. So I'm going to nestle the feet and the right leg. Okay, so I'm just going to check my proportions. Maybe I'll just check it with perspective. If I check, the head is about the same size here, but the body is, it actually isn't shorter. It's just that it's moved back more and the knee is up higher. So it's more of like he's sitting in a chair almost. So I'm going to try to kind of work in that now. I mean, I can try to adjust it later, but I feel like I just want to try to do it now. Okay, so it's got a little more of a... So let's take the right leg, the body. Let's move this back. Oh, whoop, not the body, the hips. Hip sphere. Let's move that back a little bit. Also, let's move this sphere. Let's take the leg and make it a little more seedy. You know what, let's bring this up a little bit as well. Okay, I think that might, excuse me, that might feel a bit better. I want to stretch this a little bit, take it off a line so I can adjust the pivot. Tap pivot again, and just make this a little bit thicker. Okay, he's got a little pudge for his stomach. So I'm just going to, whoops, take the sphere and sort of just bring it in a little bit more. I'd like to make that little pudge, but lower. I think that's okay. A lot of this is going to be smooth anyway, so I think that's all right. All right, let's see how it looks now. Okay, so I think I need to make this out a little more and make it a little closer. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's a little better. Move this up. I want to tilt it, I think. All right, so let's go back to this arm. It's actually not too bad. That arm looks really short, but I think it's just a foreshortening. Because I really want it to look good from all angles. And also, I think I might need to adjust, if we bring back the floor, where is the floor? If we bring back the floor, that means we really have to bring everything up. Oop. See, I have a mask there. I feel like it won't move. Clear. That's the problem when you forget to unmask masks. And something is telling me to save as well, since I don't do autosave. So all of these things, except for the floor, I'm going to move up. Spread this out a little bit, give him a little more room. All right. Yeah, this actually looks pretty good. So I think for the sleeve, for these sleeves, we'll do cylinders with holes. I think that's the best way to do that. And the hand is actually in this. I might be able to redo the hand, do the hand once, and then make it so it has the cup in it, but we'll see. So let's save. I'm going to make the cup. I want to put it near the arms. Let's make the glass. All right, so we just have to leave some room for the hand. Although, obviously, we'll be able to... Okay, my voice was being so annoying. So... stretch it. Go to here. It's actually not... actually doesn't really... No, it does get a little bit smaller. It does get a wee bit smaller. Something like that. Make it a little smaller. So it's about the height of his head, honestly. Okay, I think that makes sense. All right, so let's see if we can figure out this cup smartly. So I'm going to clone this glass liquid. I think it makes sense that I'm cloning it now. Let's put a hole in this. We have to hide glass liquid. So we'll make it pretty thin. The only problem is now there's a hole at the bottom too. I just want it to be a flat bottom. Because I know if I do this, then it's not going to be flat at the bottom. It does that. That's the only problem. There is another way. It's a little more convoluted, but maybe we'll do it that way. So let's voxel remesh this. I'm gonna voxel remesh it high. I'm not really thinking too much right now. Hide the glass. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. That's the only problem with. So we have the glass, and I'm gonna clone it and hide it. I probably won't wind up using this, but just in case I do. So I'm gonna voxel remesh this pretty high. I'll just use the round all. I don't even know if I needed to do that, but that's okay. Sometimes I'm just on autopilot. So now I'm going to clone the glass and make it smaller and do a Boolean operation. My favorite. I need to make sure that I stretch it out. I think that's good for the glass. Maybe I'll make it a tad bit smaller. So maybe there. So now I'll take both of these. I can't with my voice today. And I want to hide the inner one. So hide that one. Let me see real quick. And then I'll voxel remesh them at 300. Since the walls are thin, I'm going to voxel remesh high again, so I don't lose anything. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's use round edge. This top edge is looking really ugly, so maybe we'll try trimming it. Let me make sure I'm on orthographic. Yep. I'm going to try trimming it. My worst fear, accidentally touching a different mesh. Wow. Crazy. Huh. The remesh did help that. I wasn't sure. I just kind of went for it. But the voxel remesh did help that. Interesting. So now I'm going to use the round edge to round those edges. And it's 394K just for a glass, which is not good. So I'm just going to decimate. And hopefully we can decimate it down to something normal. Oh, it's starting to get ugly. At 1500, I wish I could bring it down more. It is going to be an additive though, so let's see what it actually looks like really quick. If I do lit PBR and then I change it to, or not additive, refractive. It's going to be refractive. So it might actually be okay. I don't really think you see the imperfections too much. But you know what? This is for art. So let's go back to MetCap. That looks cleaner, so I'm just going to keep it there. Let's see what difference I see from 6,000 to 3,000. I don't really see much of a difference at 3,000, so I'm going to keep it there. It is a lot, but this is more for looks anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. It's not going to be a whole scene. So, okay, that looks pretty good. So now we have the other glass. Which we'll have to get to a little bit later, but this will be the liquid. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I think I might just leave it for now. It's not letting me gizmo. There we go. I know it needs to be a little bit smaller, but I think it's better to keep it here. Make it sort of where the liquid is, so it's sort of like it has liquid inside, and then deal with that later. So let's just make sure that I know what this is. So this is the glass, and this is the glass liquid. All right. So now we have the glass there. All right. What else do we want to do? So we have this bit, which is a box, but then turned. Let's try to do that real quick. So that should be around the body. Gizmo. So we'll flatten it, and we want it about as wide as the backside of his PJs. And then we want to bend it. So you know what? I think I'm going to validate it. Voxel remesh it high, since it's so thin. I don't want it to break at all. I'll do a little bit of round edge to round that out. And then select mask. I'll tap left. So we just need to bend this part down. So I'll use rectangle, like so. And then gizmo, and let's move the pivot of the gizmo here, right at the edge. Pivot, and then we'll just bend this. Can probably just bend it all the way, smooth it out. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so I think something like that will work. So let's take the mask off. We'll smooth. And we can probably remesh it a little bit lower. That way we can smooth it better. Oh, symmetry wasn't on. Symmetry, you're killing me. That's my one wish. I wish symmetry was always automatically on until I turn it off. Because I work on these whole things using symmetry and it's constantly off. So annoying. Oh, it's still 143K. I thought oh, I think I accidentally just remeshed. All right. The only problem is it's still like kind of thick. I want it thinner. So I might have to do that, which is a little strange, but then we can take the select mask and we can stretch this. So I'm gonna change the pivot. So I can just stretch this. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. But I want to strengthen this up a little bit as well. So I'm going to remesh it high again. And then I'll just do round edge. Okay. All right. And it looks like there's a round bend to it. Sort of like this. Let's pull the middle. Oh, let's not. And there's also, looks like there's a bit of a bend this way. Oh, I think I bent it too much. I think I made that a little too drastic. So it's right along, like aligns with the leg. It's a little higher up, so it's right in the middle of his butt. So it's sort of like that. It feels like this part comes in a little bit, perhaps. Okay, that looks decent. That looks decent. Just trying to match it up with the image now. I think that looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Let's just clean it up by getting rid of, what is that? Oh, this is the box. Okay. I see you. All right, so I think I need to tackle the hands now. So I'm going to start with boxes. Wait, what was this box? I need to make sure that I label things. Pajama, flap, butt flap will go in with the body. This box will be the left hand. Gizmo. Okay, so I might make it, I might start it below the hand. And just sort of get my bearings. So I'm going to stretch it a little bit. It looks a little bit long. Obviously it's thinner, but not too thin. So I feel like it's something like this. I'm just going to bring this up and make sure it's not too big. Okay, I think that feels right. Something like this. Let's take a look on the other side. Yeah, that feels about right for a palm. Glass and glass liquid should probably be, maybe they are in a good spot. So this should be here, but then tilted. But do I want to tilt it yet? So many questions, so many questions. So I'm going to validate it. And then I'm going to smooth the whole thing out so it's nice and round. I'm going to turn symmetry on. I could do round edge. You can do that as well. Okay. And I think I'm going to tilt it. So this should be tilted a little bit this way. And I think the cup needs to be over more. I think that feels better. So I'm going to shape this hand up a little bit. I'm going to flatten this part because this part is round. And then I'm going to smooth that out. I'm going to use clay. Oh, let me make sure I'm not on sub. And I'm just going to make this part a little bit more round. Oh no, I don't want symmetry for that. I just want it on the front. Oh, no, it's not working. I must be on a different tool, of course. And I'm going to smooth that out. And I guess I have to use tubes for the thumb. So it looks like just 1 and then 2. So just like the arms. We'll do path. We don't want snap. 1, 2. This one can be hard. We'll bring this out a bit. And this part should be nestled in with the rest of the hand. Yeah, that actually looks okay. I think the sizes are okay. It might get a little bigger on this side.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out my Skillshare classes for more tutorials. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.